mbili, tatu, nne, tano. Karibu bwana CS. Karibu CS. Karibu bwana CS. Karibu CS. Sawa, watu wakae chini sasa watulie. Bwana CS hapa bunge tunakanda tu hapa. I want to welcome the speaker. Bunge la mwananchi. Huko mashinani. 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 Bunge la mwananchi. Huko mashinani.
We will start this session by our national anthem, and then we will have a prayer from Christian fraternity and also the Muslim. So Isa Bakari and Jackson, as we sing for the national anthem. Mungu nguvu yetu, ilete baraka kwetu, akiwe ngao na mlinzi, na tukae na uhuru, amani na uhuru, na tupate na ustawi. Thank you very much.
Where are we now? Are we doing okay? The answer is no. We are not doing okay, but we are better than yesterday. Why do I say we are better than yesterday? There is this rating that has come out from the Moody's. Some people think ni mushene. This is not mushene. This is factual. But how was this informed? The credit rating is all about the ability of a country to repay its debts. And that can only be assessed from certain parameters, from certain fundamentals. The key fundamental is inflation rate. Our inflation rate has showed signs of coming down. It was 9.6 in October 2022. The prices were increasing. That is what is called inflation. The prices were increasing at the rate of 9.6%. That has come down now to 3.3%. That has given a good indicator to the market. The second one, and I want to move very quickly. The second one is, how does government borrow? What is the rate of interest? Remember, just a few months ago when I took over office, we were borrowing at 15.6%. The government was borrowing through treasury bills, the 91-day treasury bill. We were paying 15.6%. Today, as we speak, that has come down to 9.5%, below 10%, single digit for the first time. That has given good indicators that we can be able to borrow money cheaply to retire expensive loans. Because what we are doing with the domestic borrowing is we are borrowing to repay what we had. So if you are borrowing cheaply to repay an expensive loan, that is the only way you can get out of debt trap. Even at home, if you want to come out of debt, ile fuliza tuanze na Shylock kabla tujaenda fuliza. If you have a Shylock of 30%, you go for fuliza, isn't it? Say fuliza charges you 12%. If you find a friend who can give you the same amount and you only pay 5%, you will borrow that and pay fuliza. That is how domestic borrowing works. Finally, is the issue of foreign exchange. For us to pay loan, external loan, we must pay it in dollars and other hard currencies. So a country must demonstrate that they have enough reserves to pay any loan should it fall due. Now, Kenya for a long time has had only 2 billion, 3 billion US dollars. 2 billion, 3 billion, which is just 1 month cover of imports. Because for us to buy imports, we must pay in hard currency. Right now, we have in the central bank reserves of 9.5 billion USD, which would cover our imports for 4 months, 4.9 months. That's almost 5 months. Now, as I conclude, someone will ask, Mbadi, you are telling us all this. The shilling is stable, yes. All these things you are telling us. Moody has rated you positive. Where is money in my pocket? I know that was going to come up here. Mr. Speaker, if I still have a few minutes, maybe 2 or 3, then I call my colleague. It is true that Kenyans are struggling. It is true that economic times are difficult. Even though this government has done something positive in the area of agriculture by encouraging production. Today, we are producing 61 million bags of maize. That is what we produced in 2023, up from 30 million bags a year before. That is double. And we are projecting maize production to be at 74 million bags. That is what would satisfy the population of this country. But even with all that, Kenyans are still feeling they don't have money in their pockets. One of the reasons, there are 3 reasons that I will talk about, and what we are intending to deal with those problems. Problem number 1 is the simple reason that because banks have not been able to give money to the private sector cheaply, private sector has not been borrowing money from the banks to expand their businesses, to create job opportunities. So many of our youth, that is why we have now today 3.4 million Kenyans who are supposed to be working are not working. This is because businesses are not expanding. The government has been borrowing money expensively, and therefore banks also loan money to private sector even more expensively. You have started seeing banks lowering interest rates because of the deliberate effort taken by government to reduce government borrowing and reduce interest rates so that private sector can borrow money, create job opportunities for many of you. You see, you may be earning the same salary, 100,000. But if your sister is unemployed, your brother is unemployed, they will all depend on your 100 shilling. You will not see money in your pocket. The money may not have disappeared from your pocket. It's still there. It is still the same 100. But the mouth it is feeding is a lot. Therefore, we must make sure that we create space for employment for more people so that we have more income. So I listen to you when you are making your deliberations that we have not reached where we want to be, but we are making deliberate efforts. Tunajaribu sana. Tumeweka mikakati, ninajaribu. And I'm being transparent and open. Long gone are days when cabinet secretary would only be for finance, would only be seen with the briefcase going to parliament to read budget speech. We must engage more. Please give me and open the door for me to engage with you. I may not be perfect, but I will be listening. Give me ideas that you think can help this economy move forward. It is a collective responsibility. I cannot do it alone. I earn, yes, 1 million, but I work for people who, some of them earn nothing. And I want to listen to those people who earn nothing. Let me tell you, this country has challenges. Recently I was in Tana River. And in Tana River, I saw something I never believed, even though I also come from a marginalized area. Remember, since independence to date, the children of Oromo, or Orma, Pokomo, crossing the river to school, have been eaten by crocodiles for all these years just because Kenya government could not commit 100 million shillings to put up a bridge. Yet we steal monies every day in government offices, worth billions of shillings. It is unfair, it is unjust. We must look for ways of making sure that the whole of this country, whatever little resources we have, it is spread equally in the country to attend to our needs. All of us pay taxes, whether you are a Pokomo, whether you are a Bukusu, or whether you are a Kikuyu or a Luo. All of us pay taxes. We deserve to get services. And that is why I'm here. And this assembly has people from all ethnic communities. Let us speak openly. Let us respect each other. I respect any opinion, however you put it. Just tell me what you think. Even if you think Mbadi ninafanya kazi bure sana, National Treasury, tell me so that I may consider whether to resign or to continue with my work.
Asante sana waziri. Asante sana waziri. Bwana Spika, Geto President, President wa bunge la wananchi, kiongozi wa mpinzani wa bunge la wananchi. Jina langu ni Nderito Muriithi. Bwana Spika, vile Cabinet Secretary wangu amesema tayari, nitalenga mambo ya ushuru. Bwana Spika, utaniruhusu Kiswahili kinichanganya, naongeza mpaka Kizungu. Thank you Mr. Speaker. Vile waziri alisema, tumekuwa tukihudumu na yeye katika Azimio Economic Council. Nilikuwa mwenyekiti na yeye akawa memba yangu. Vile mambo yakaendelea, yeye akakuwa waziri wa fedha, sio? Nafikiria wados wakamuuliza nani anaelewa mambo ya revenue. Kasema kuna jamaa mmoja anaitwa Nderi. Basi ndio nikajipata niko hapa. Bunge la wananchi oye. Asanteni. Waziri akanieleza hivi. Wakenya wako na bidii sana. Hata ukiangalia wakati wa COVID, Wakenya kweli waliweka bidii na wakatoa ushuru mpaka target iliyokuwa imewekwa wakati huo wa COVID. Akanieleza Wakenya wanaweka bidii. Hata wakati unaona tunakorogana, unaona bado Wakenya ni watiifu, wanafanya juhudi, responsibility yao. Kwa mfano ukiangalia hata hii huduma namba, utaona okay, tulikuwa tu vuta ni kuvute kidogo, lakini takriban Wakenya milioni 35 wakajiwasilisha. Ukaona hata hii mambo ya health insurance ambaye kidogo tena tukawa na vuta ni kuvute, utakuta pia takriban Wakenya milioni 18.8 wamejiwasilisha. Kwa hivyo waziri akanieleza, nataka uone kwamba Wakenya, niseme kwa kimombo kidogo, Kenyans, the vast majority of Kenyans pay tax or comply voluntarily. Sio lazima ati hata uwakumbushe, they do it voluntarily. Ujipigie makofi wa Kenya wenzangu. That is the vast majority of Kenyans. Kunao wachache ambao pengine inafaa uwakumbushe. Particularly if you make it easier for them to pay. Na kuna idadi ndogo zaidi, maybe 1% or less, ambao wanasema tuwatafute. So kwa hivyo waziri akaniambia, huwezi kuwa na strategy moja kwa hawa Wakenya wote. Wakenya wengi wanataka kulipa ushuru, taking their responsibility seriously. Kwa hivyo juhudi ya shirika la KRA is to make it easy, to simplify taxation, make it easy for the citizen to pay. Mnakubaliana na sisi tufanye hivyo?
Napenda kuuliza bwana waziri, as far as public participation is concerned, tungependa kujua ni mikakati gani ambapo mumeweka so that the common mwananchi hapa chini yeye pia anaweza kuwa na usemi na decision making ambao mnafanya pale juu.
Tangu Gaucha aingie kwa serikali, siku hizi anavaa soft leather Oxford. Waziri, umesema hapa kuhusu things like austerity measures, kupunguza expenditure ya serikali ndo at least watu wapate nafuu. But juzi in the media we saw that your office had allocated some hundreds of millions for members of the cabinet to be flying around. And it was actually a scandal in the papers that you and the other expert, Opio and I, are the flying experts. So that's a question number one. Question number two, Mr. Speaker, I am really concerned about the well-being of our payslips as the working class, because the rumor has it that the NSSF will go up and the VAT and so forth. So we will need you to address how are you going to stop or reduce the raid on our pay slips.
I want to pose this question to the CS, that the shareable revenue for counties for financial year 2024-2025 was 410 billion Kenya shillings. In this projected finance policy, the CS is allocating to counties shareable revenue 405 billion. And if you read, you will see that it will progressively reduce. This 410 billion is 9% of the total budget. And if you read it, it will progressively reduce. In 2026-2027, it will reduce to 8.7. 2027-2028, it will reduce to 8.2. So, CPA John Mbadi, Bwana CS, don't you think you will go down in our history as the CS who came to kill devolution by reducing resources to devolution?
Okay, nilikuwa nauliza kuna wakati watu walikuwa wanaambiwa wa form groups alafu waungane wapate certificates za groups. Wakishapata certificates alafu kuna pesa yenye watakuwa wanapewa wanaanzisha nayo biashara. So ninataka kuuliza Bwana CS, hiyo mipango imefika wapi na tutasaidia?
If you look at the numbers, the cost of living has reduced. We have to admit that. But unfortunately in maths they say any number, if you multiply any number by 0 or 0 divided by any number, the answer is 0. The problem we have is, yes, unga has reduced from 250 to 150, but if you have 0 in your pocket, you can't afford it even if it's 15 bob. Secondly, so FDR, the solution that he gave, because I don't want to only challenge you without giving some of the solution, was expanding, and he created major infrastructure development. I remember our president said that the housing project was about creating employment. He even reintroduced Kazi Mtaani under environment or something. But if you look at the uptake, it is negligible. It's negligible. So Waziri, this is a challenge to you. What can be done so that in the next financial year, this financial year that we are coming into, you put up measures that can actually put money in the pockets of wananchi? Thank you very much.
In the interest of time, I think we again introduce another linear of questions. So may I welcome Waziri to respond to the question which have been asked as we proceed. It is time for expert.
It is time for experts.
Umingo Magara nimesikia amekasirika. Tutaangalia maneno ya Umingo Magara. Now, let me quickly address these questions because I've been told tutakuwa na round nyingine, si ndio? Yes. Sasa Bakari SG ameuliza, what plans do we have in place to do public participation? First, wacha nianze na admission that the way we have conducted public participation before has left the bigger segment of our society because it was more formal, more academic, too professionalized. Yet tuko na watu wengi hapo chini ambao wako na maoni tofauti tofauti, lakini kupata nafasi ya kuengage na sisi imekuwa shida. Kwa hivyo, in this coming budget, we will try as much as possible to make sure that we engage you in a more informal manner, like we have just started here at the Jivanji Cadet, so that we don't speak only to some elites somewhere. We put meeting at KICC and only elites come to give their views. We must devolve this public participation and we must also engage at informal levels. Now, opposition leader has asked me that there were austerity measures that we are putting in place and then they have seen choppers. To be honest, we have not adjusted any money for public transport upwards, nothing. The issue that I saw in the media was that there was an advertisement for chopper services. You can advertise for any service in government. That does not mean we are taking that service. Because for any government service, it must be competitively tendered for. Now, on the issue of choppers, let me be candid. You know, there are also some politics that we play at our own levels. Don't think everybody loves Mbadi. Not everybody loves me. And that is the nature of politics. I have used chopper before on 3 occasions to government functions. Number one, I have just talked to you about going to Tana River. I left Nairobi after a meeting at the State House to go to Tana River and back. I don't know whether I would have made it using my car. I wouldn't have. So I had to go to Tana River and really see for myself. As I said, long on at days when Cabinet Secretary in charge of National Treasury would be on 14th floor from January 1st to December 31st without engaging with wananchi. You can go with your car, but if it is not practical, then you can also get the fastest means. Especially the project that I went to look at. These are projects that are funded through climate financing. This is what we call the financing in terms of local communities, FLOCA. The second one is when I went to Kakamega, there were issues with the expenditure of FLOCA funds. I had to go to see for myself, because we even stopped the bank account of Kakamega County on that. I didn't want to be someone who sits here and money is probably being embezzled elsewhere. I had to go and witness myself. And from there, I went to another function of FLOCA in Kisumu. So let me ask you, once I finish that and I want to go to my rural home, does the chopper drop me on the road and come back to Nairobi and I walk to my home? The chopper will definitely drop me at my home. So that is exactly what I did. After I finished the 3 events, one in Kakamega, another one in Kisumu, 2 in Kisumu actually, where we were with Governor Nyang'nyong. After that, I could not be dropped in Kisumu to walk to Suba. Suba was very nearby. Before they come back to Nairobi, I was dropped home and the chopper came back to Nairobi and I drove back to Nairobi when my time to come to Nairobi came. The last one was the issue of tree planting and also to go and launch electricity projects together with Wandai. I don't know what this person who brought this, the problem he had with electricity in Suba. Suba people have not had electricity for years, for decades. If they get electricity and we go there for official government function, I don't know how that is affecting someone. So really, we are trying not to be wasteful. We are trying to be very prudent. There is even no money to waste. In fact, I would be like what our people would call, in vernacular, I would be judge walk at this stage to spend, to waste public money. It is not there. I've been saying, hata kama ni kuiba, mmeiba ya kutosha, pesa hakuna ya kuiba saa hii. There is no money in this government to steal, I will tell you. Unless you now just want Kenyans to die. Now, I think I spent so much time on that. Let me move to NSSF going up. Yes, a law was passed so many years back on NSSF to increase it to a percentage of salary, 6%. That law, it's only that it is being implemented today. And let me tell you, Sahi, you may not see the value of saving for retirement. But as a personal finance advisor, I would tell you, you need to save money for your retirement. In fact, from day one. Sahi, because many of us probably are younger, ask someone like me, I am now turning 44 this year, 54 this year. If I was working in a formal employment where my retirement is 60, I have no more than 6 years. But mine is even worse because I don't know about tomorrow. I can be rendered jobless anytime. Therefore, now I've started feeling the need to have pension in my pocket. That is why one of the reasons I also brought that amendment so that I protect also myself when I retire. That when I get my pension, I take the whole of it without surrendering anything to the government. But VAT, take it from me, we are not increasing VAT at all. Actually, the finance bill of this year may not have any tax adjustment upwards in terms of rates, which are we cannot overtax Kenyans anymore. We have reached a limit where we are saying no more space for taxation, especially on employment income. You will not see any more taxes on employment income under my watch as a CS. CPA Kiberenge, shareable revenue, I hear you very well. Actually, it was 418 billion for 2024-25. You are saying it has come down to 2025-26 to 405 billion. That is true. Do you know why? I'll explain. 2023-24, the government budgeted to transfer money to the counties. But by the end of the year, we had not given counties 31 billion shillings, 30.8. So that 30.8 was reverted in 24-25. So the shareable revenue was 387 for 24-25, 387. But because there was 30 billion which was not paid the other year, that was added to 387. If you do that math, it takes you to 418. Now this year, there is no carryover, or I project that there will be no carryover to the next year. That is why it is 405. So 405, compare it with 387, not 418. 418, we loaded the carryover from 23-24. I hope I've explained that.
Thank you. Understood. Thank you.
So I am not killing devolution. I'm a student of devolution. Remember, I am chaired Orange Democratic Movement Party for over 10 years. Party that believes in devolution from morning to evening. I would be the last person to go to Treasury and fight devolution. Ask governors. They will tell you if there's a friend of devolution whom they have experienced. It is John Mbadi. Since I came there, I have made sure that there are money that goes to counties is released. And we started releasing even before the law was passed in Parliament to share revenue. So I am a supporter, a strong defender of devolution. Mike, I will take up this and discuss with the CS in charge of MSMEs, because his proposals on what to fund come from line ministries. So money that is meant for giving to groups should come through that ministry. I think Makolande, you have talked about 3 Rs, and I agree with you that reform, the recovery of the economy we are trying to do. Reforms in the financial sector, yes, we are trying to do that. In fact, we are implementing e-procurement to date, which has eluded us for years. We want to delink procurement officers from procurement process, remove human influence, so that people can see, you can tender in a more transparent manner. That will save us a lot. But then you asked the relief to the unemployed. Yes, we must do much more. One of the reliefs to the unemployed is to employ them, not to give them money, not to give them stipends. That should be the last resort. Even in the US, they only give stipends to people who are not able to get jobs. So we must make sure that people get jobs. We must expand the job space. You can only expand the job space by targeting those sectors which can create meaningful and reasonable jobs. Apart from the housing, which is ongoing, we need to work on manufacturing sector. We must now actualize this value addition. The agriculture sector, the leather industry, the apparel industry, we have the tea sector, we have coffee sector, all these sectors, and we must make them appealing to the younger generation, the Gen Zs. You know, Gen Zs will not go to the garden the traditional way, to the shambas, the way we used to. So you have to make agriculture and farm work more appealing. And that is what the government is going to work on in the coming budget, to align it to agriculture, to align it to construction and, mining industry. There were only two sectors which shrank or contracted in last year, which have slowed our economic growth. One is mining and minerals. The second one is construction. Construction is because of the stalled roads project. And also because the private sector is not able to get money from the banks, and therefore we have slowdown in construction of houses from the private sector. From the public sector, yes, we have seen a surge. Now we must give money to mining ministry, which is under Joho, and we must give money also to the contractors, the road contractors, and we must lower interest rates so that private sector can borrow money and get back to work. I think I have only one more to address.
You wanted to know about tax evasion.
Tax?
tax evasion. We understand there are families that have evaded tax since Kenya. We want to know what you are doing about it.
Without targeting specific families, because that will really be that will be political. I don't want to get there, but I will tell you, Kenyans, a lot of Kenyans, and very rich ones, are evading taxes. You know, and the doctors will forgive me. Let me tell you, even some of the doctors who treat us, they look at your mouth like this, whether your teeth is well arranged, and you pay thousands. Do you know personal income tax coming from such people is the lowest? Is the lowest. But again, it's shouting arrest. But if you mechanize, if you militarize tax collection, you will not realize your objective. So what we are saying is the starting point is to have a system. And the chairman is here. They are developing a system how to see. In fact, I've been saying we will be seeing you wherever you are. We see you, then we call you for a conversation. Yeah, we tell you, we have already seen you, you are not paying some taxes. Can you tell us the plan now you have with us to pay it? But I would agree with you, there is a lot of tax evasion in this country, and people who should be paying taxes. It may be some families, some other families, and other families, and other families, and if we are honest with ourselves, some of us come from families where they own rental houses. Rental income is the most abused. Only 17% of what we should collect, we are collecting. So some of you, including myself, who have rental income, please do soul searching. Do soul searching. After hizo Mbadi houses, you have do soul searching. Are you paying us? Are you paying us the tax? You know how much should be taxed, isn't it? If you have zero money in your pocket, then you can't buy. I think I was just responding to. It's the same thing that I responded to. And it was asking what
mambo ya SHA na SHIF na wanakata housing. Je, ule ambaye mke wake anafanya kazi wanawasiri na yeye mwenyewe anafanya kazi, wewe bibi yangu, mke wangu amekatwa pesa na mimi nimekatwa pesa, sasa au mke wangu atapewa nyumba yake na mimi nipewe nyumba yangu, ama itakuwa namna gani? Swali la pili ambaye inahusu SHA, mimi naweza kuwa nafanya kazi na government of Kenya na nilikuwa ninalipa insurance katika Jubilee Insurance, ninalipianga insurance kila wakati, na government of Kenya imeleta policy, wewe ukiwa kama waziri, imeleta policy kwamba kutakuwa na kitu inaitwa nini, hii mambo ya insurance ambayo imekuja ya SHA na SHIF. Je, kama ninakatwa hii na bado nalipa ingine, hii sasa itakuwa inasaidia nini, ama itakuwa ni njia moja ya wizi ambaye namaliza naye? Naomba Bwana Speaker niulize tu swali hii ya mwisho. Je, watu wale ambaye wamekuwa corrupt na wapatikana mambo ya pesa na unasikia kwamba kesi yao imeahirishwa kila wakati, imeahirishwa kwa miaka na miaka, kwa nini kama waziri na tulikuwa asimio na wewe ukijua kwamba tunapiga corruption kwa nguvu sana, kwa nini hujachukua hatua? Wote ambaye amepatikana na hatua ya wizi achukuliwe hatua immediately na vitu zake anyang'anywe zote, iwe funzo kwa wengine?
Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. I'm Joel Alo from the University of Nairobi. I'm a student leader. I got a question. There have been discrepancies on the disbursement of the new funding model. Okay, there have been discrepancies on the disbursement of the new funding model. Because there was the new funding model came in place to replace the old funding model. And you find today the students, we marched to the anniversary towers to question on the disbursement of the funds. We find that only a quarter of the students have received the funds. So we wanted to know, tell Waziri to explain on how the disbursement is being done.
Thank you very much.
My name is John Makababu. I only have one question. One, Bwana Waziri, yesterday we were watching Citizen Live, and the Minister of Environment, who is Mr. Ndwale, was asked Mr. Waziri, how much took the State House renovation? Is it 10 billion or 2 billion? And he answered by saying he's not in the position to say how much State House, how much money did they use to renovate State House. Lastly, Bwana Waziri, we have been having a complaint concerning the pending bill, and some of our members, Bwana Waziri, one of them being Mansuk, has a pending bill and he always complain that whenever they go there ni lazima simu iteremke bwana waziri. So leo tunakuomba bwana waziri, now that tuko na one of our member ambaye ni contractor wetu, simu iteremke alipo ile pending bill yake bwana Masuka. Asante waziri.
Sorry. Kwa majina mimi naitwa Willis Mboga, Chairman People's Assembly and incoming MP for Machoge Church constituency. Kama chairman nilikuwa nimefungiwa kidogo, lakini wacha niongee. Number 1, bwana waziri, iko kitu inatuumiza kama wa Kenya. Eurobond is a big issue in this country. As much as the government is saying going to pay the Eurobond, what do you want? Number 1, tuko na kesi mahakamani. Statement ya Eurobond haionekani. Hii Eurobond, who is this pocketing the Kenyan money? Tunataka kujua bwana waziri, hii Eurobond iweke kwa mitandao na tuelewe kabisa. Haya, swali la pili kwa KRA chairman. Last year part 1 tulikuwa na issue ya employment hapo KRA. Ukienda huko iko hapo KRA iko issues na mambo na employment. Number 2, the issue of business intelligence katika KRA wanatuangusha kwa sababu iko watu hii Kenya hawalipi ushuru. Bwana chairman, nataka uchukue fursa, ukikaa kwa board uulize director wa intelligence atuambie what is he doing or she doing to ensure there is no tax evasion in this country, because all of us must pay tax as per the laws of this land. Thank you.
Waziri, now you can respond. We will come to you. We will come to you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Bunge la wananchi oye! Bunge la wananchi oye! Haya, very quickly, maswali ambaye yanahusiana na KRA. Mwanzo niseme tu hivi nikijibu maswali ya KRA kwamba simplification, yani kufanya iwe rahisi wewe kulipa ni ongoing, si ati tumefika mwisho, tunaendelea. Hata hii e-teams, wakati tunasema e-teams invoice, inakusaidia wewe mwisho wa mwezi huwezi hauna ati accountant hata mtu mwingine ya kujaza, it is self populating kwa sababu tayari umetumia mtambo. Kuhusu employment in KRA, tulikuwa na kesi kotini ambayo ilisema tusimamishe kwanza employment, tukaendelea na kesi, tukafika mwisho. Kwa hivyo shirika itaendelea na kazi yake vile ilikuwa imetarajiwa. Kuhusu business intelligence, niseme tu hivi kwamba tunaweka bidii kuongezea kutumia mitambo, kuongezea kuwa na uhusiano na wewe ukiwa customer wetu katika KRA. Kwa hivyo tafadhali, vile nimesema, ni asante sana Omigo Magara kusema tuweke bidii katika mambo ya intelligence. Pigieni makofi. Yeah. Na nimweleze na musikia. Nimalize kusema tena, tuna amnesty until June. Please take advantage of the amnesty. Kama ulichelewa, kwa mfano watu wa rent, simukuje tu. Yeah, so that we agree, you pay, and the penalties and interest are waived. Siyo ni sawa sawa? Thank you, waziri. Jameni, hata makofi. Asante sana bunge la wananchi.
Wanabunge hoya. Wanabunge hoya. I'm Francis Awino. I'm the current bunge la mwananchi president. And I want to ask one question. Tumesikia waziri akisema corruption, watu wameibia Kenya, hadi Kenya hakuna kitu ya kuibiwa. Ukienda kwa magazetini last week, tuliona Kenya, Kura na Kera, they are the biggest institutions zenye zimelead kwa corruption kwa hii country. Nataka kuuliza waziri, vipi kabla hawa watu walipwe pesa inatokanga treasury, yeye ndio huwa na sign hizi pesa ziende zikaibiwa na wenye wanaiba kwa hizo maofisi? Anafanyanga nini ku make sure pesa zikienda hazitaenda kuibiwa? Swali la pili, namalizia. Swali la pili, this is a historical moment to this bunge la mwananchi, because we have two former presidents. We have Gaucho, I appreciate you so much, and we have and still we are marking a start of public participation this year. So tunauliza waziri, vipi vyenye Mungu amemuongelesha ama wenye walimuongelesha kama Hagai akaamua kuja bunge la mwananchi leo. Sisi ndio tuko kwa ground. Wanaongelelea mambo ya public participation na pia wanaongelelea mambo ya job creation. Hao wanaume wote ukiwagawa uchukota wanaume watano. When the other 46 counties wakifanya mambo ya public participation, utakuwa umecreate kazi kwa wananchi na kwa wanabunge, na hawa wanabunge hawatakuwa gonjea saa zenye unaenda nyumbani wa kupiga ngeta, kwa sababu watakuwa na kitu kwa mfuko yao ya kwenda kununulia watoto wao chakula. Asanteni sana. Mungu abariki Kenya na Mungu abariki wote.
So I think there is this question around MSMEs. And one of us talked about MSMEs and the micro and micro realities. It is true, what we have been talking about is a disconnect between macro figures and micro, what really is in your pockets. And I think this is a topic I have talked about a lot, but I will not tire from repeating that there are a number of reasons why we have these challenges. I have just told you that we are going to make sure that we pay all the pending bills to the MSMEs. That is one way of giving them capacity to move on. Because they are small businesses, if they are not paid, if they are owed money, they are small businesses, sorry. They are small businesses. Niongee Kiswahili? Na nasema hizi ni biashara ndogo ndogo. Wasipolipwa deni zao wanakuwa na shida. Kwa hivyo sisi kama serikali tutaangalia vile tunaweza lipa pesa ya MSMEs. Na hiyo ndiyo sababu nimesema bills zote mpaka milioni 10 tutalipa. Alafu tutaanza tena sasa kulipa hizo deni zingine. Mr. Chola has talked about waste management. That I can take up with my colleagues under the Ministry of Environment and also the county governments, because I may not address it here on the spot. Ganga, you have talked about SHA na housing levy. Sana SHA is an insurance. And insurance does not mean that when you pay money for health that you must fall sick. I don't know who among us would want to, because you have paid your money, now you must go to hospital. Kuna watu wanataka kwenda hospitali. Mimi sitaki, hata nikilipa milioni 1, if I can stay the whole year without going to hospital, the better for me. So SHA is an insurance system. I want us to understand it. And by the way, it is not only in Kenya where universal health cover is controversial. It is everywhere. Remember Obamacare. Americans are still fighting whether it is good or bad. So telling you that people will buy SHA 100% is not practical. But what government must do and what we are doing is to deal with those challenges that SHA is confronting. But we are all in agreement. As a country, we need universal health cover. Before you ukuwe na mgonjwa karibu, siku utakuwa na mgonjwa karibu ndio utajua universal health cover is very important. Mimi, kuna watu wameniambia wale wako karibu na mimi, juzi nilipoteza rafiki yangu sana, kijana ambaye ameni support kutoka 2007. Na siku alikufa, wale wanatoka kwangu wanajua, tulikuwa tunamuita governor. Huyo kijana nilimpeleka mpaka Tenwek, nikampeleka Kisii, Eldoret, ikashindikana. Nikaambiwa, mheshimiwa, mahali imefika, it is stage 4, you can only manage him. I took him to a private hospital nearby because I didn't want to take him home. Akuwe managed. Wakati alikufa on 16th of November, the first question I asked, how much is the bill? When I sent one of the ndugu yake kuangalia, akaniambia, mheshimiwa, hii SHA ni mzuri sana, imelipa bili yote. So what I am saying is SHA may have challenges. It may have challenges, but let us point out those challenges to the CS, to the government, to the PS. And when you point them out, mimi kama mmoja ambaye niko kwa serikali, tutahakikisha hizo challenges zitatuliwe ili hii SHA tusiue. By the way, let me tell you, NHIF had reached a point it was not working. Nairobi Hospital, we owe them 663 million as we speak. It is not sustainable. So this system may not be perfect, but we are improving it. You just need to give us space. I wish I had time, I would have told you another story, and you would have agreed with me that it is important. Corrupt individuals whose cases are being pushed left, right, and center. You know, that is the problem with democracy. If Kenya was dictatorship, we would order the judiciary to jail these corrupt people instantly. Yes. Yes. If we were probably Rwanda, for example, we just order that person ameiba pesa, weka ndani. But the problem is that we have embraced a democracy with 3 arms of government. There is executive, there is parliament or legislature, and we have judiciary. We have no powers over the judiciary. What we can do is to come up with some legislation. I think there was a legislation which had recommended that corruption cases should not take more than 6 months. That we may need to revive. But the government has already brought a legislation in parliament which I think should be cleared through mediation, the witness protection. So that ukiona Mbadi anaiba, uende upeleke hiyo ujumbe and you will be protected. We need that very urgently. Finally, I don't know whether it's the final one, the universities should call for is we be rational. There will never be timing. There is no time. We will never have. But let me tell you, Sahi to renovate. So what you need to tell me, don't spend any more money on further renovations, isn't it? Juu hiyo nyumba ukiona sahi ni mzuri, imekuwa renovated, imechukua ile pesa imechukua. But the point is, hello. But that, by the way, to me, State House had reached a point of shame. It was even now leaking, surely. A State House of the Republic of Kenya, leaking. Anyway, it has been renovated. What we must make sure we do going forward is that we may not have more money to renovate any other thing, isn't it? On pending bills, I think I responded, isn't it? On Willis, Eurobond. Eurobond is a big issue. Remember when the government started taking Eurobond in 2014? Jubilee government, Jubilee 1. Go back to answer. The things I said in 2014 is what is biting us today. I talked of us borrowing expensively for budgetary support. You know, when you talk of budgetary support, it means money is coming and it is not going to specific project. So you borrow money even to clean streets. How does it pay back? And you are borrowing expensively, commercial loan. That to me was a wrong decision taken, but it is already taken and the governments are there in perpetuity. We must now make sure that we contain our appetites for Eurobond. If you look at the budget figures for 25-26, external borrowing is coming down to 200 and something billion. We want to move towards eliminating commercial borrowing in this country. But let